Hello, World Affairs family. This is Roy,
And I'm
and we're
Yolanda.
your guides in World Affairs, where we show you affairs
Affairs
done
done
right.
right. So I am laughing because we are trying out this new, I don't even know what it is, this new Digi Osmo 3 camera. And we're going to see how it goes. But thank you guys so much for joining in. This channel is all about sharing our story of infidelity and how we are using travel as a pathway to heal, as a pathway to one of the healing processes. And we're inviting other couples to join us for this
Just like you.
journey and adventure. So we've been talking or tackling some questions that normally come up or that we've been asked. And one of the questions that we have been asked is, like, what are the signs of true remorse after infidelity? Because so often someone may say, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, but are you really sorry, or are you just sorry for getting caught or being exposed? So what are today we're going to be delving into what are some of the true signs of remorse.
Yep, and there may be others, but we're going to dive into four of those. We'll talk a little bit about taking full accountability. We'll talk about having some consistency in your words and actions. We'll talk about the third point would be empathy for your pain, and then we'll try to round it out in talking about commitments to rebuilding the relationship. So, is there one we want to take first, or want to just take from the top?
You know what? It really don't matter.
Okay, well let's take it from let's take it from the top. And again, we're not therapists or relationship gurus. We're just, as you would say, auntie, uncle, cousin, them, brother, sister. They're sharing our story and hopefully some tips and maybe some coaching that could help you as well.
Yep. So I laugh. So let's dive into taking full accountability. And I laugh because you guys know, and if you're new to us, you're about to find out. We have what we call one of our good friends named a Group 1 and a Group 2. So our older kids are 30, soon to be 27 and 23. Then we moved to Texas, and I say got surprised because we now have an 11-year-old daughter and an 8-year-old son. And when our son was, maybe 5 or 6, he's gotten much better, but he would do something to, upset his sister, and then he'd just say, I'm sorry. And then he'd do it again. And it's, I'm sorry. And you do it again. I'm sorry. And so I had to, explain to him, Bubba, saying I'm sorry and still doing the same thing repeatedly doesn't mean that you're sorry. That doesn't mean that you're sorry. And I was like, how would you feel if I, bumped your knee and I said, I'm sorry? Or I knocked down your tower. He's into Legos. Or I knocked it down and I said, I'm sorry. And then I did it again and I said, I'm sorry. And I did it again and I said, I'm sorry. I said, would you really believe that, mommy was sorry? And the response, of course, is no. And I said, well, exactly, Bubba. That's how it is. Like when you're telling your sister you're sorry, the only thing that she's going to have to go by to really ensure that you're sorry is, to really, say it and really actually mean it. Take that accountability. Say, you know what, I knocked down your, what did she do? Or I played with your toys and I broke one of the Barbie doll heads or something like that. Like, don't say that it wasn't me.
Right. That was a song.
I know, right? That's why
that brother did not take full accountability.
Right. And so that is one of the first things that I believe, that when you have been hit with this blow, is to have your significant other, your partner, take full responsibility, and that not no, it wasn't me. No, you're seeing things that wasn't there. No, that didn't happen. Just own up to what you've done.
Yeah. And so as the betraying partner in our story, and if you want to learn more about our story, we do have our story laid out in a book. We redo too. So we collaborate with some great other authors, and the collaborating authors, the Gowans, kind of put a group of us together. And part of that book in my chapter, because the layout of the book is each partner would tell their particular part of their story, their love story. And so it would be a she do, he do, and then a we do. And so in my he do chapter, I talk about what instances, well, more so, hey, here's what I did. Here were the intentional actions and decisions that I made in the affair. And so when we're talking about taking full accountability, I didn't, go back to Yolanda and say, it was because you didn't do X, Y, and Z. And actually through therapy, learned of some things in my past and in my makeup that kind of shaped me to who I am today. That need for affection and affirmation was kind of part of that, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I had to have an affair, but those were some of the leading or contributing factors. So taking full accountability, acknowledging my own actions. There were decisions that I made, and I think in the book I talk about, no one put a gun to my head and said, go out there and have an affair, and not necessarily minimizing the impact of what the affair had on Yolanda. So the biggest piece of that is just, man or woman, own up to it. Understand that there were intentional actions that you made. You had a decision. You could have went left or right. You could have kept driving or turn around and go home. So taking that full accountability is part of that process. And then, showing some genuine, regret, because through the course of our counseling sessions, Yolanda would share, you would share in those sessions, how troublesome it was, how hurtful that was. So had to sit there and listen to it as well, so I could understand and empathize and say, yeah, I am sorry for that. So those were just the words, and then the accountability without blaming Yolanda, external circumstances. Well, it was because the wind was cold outside, and that's, come on, so.
Yeah, and it helps when you have someone to take accountability. Doesn't mean that that diminishes the pain. It doesn't mean that you're no longer hurting. What it does mean is there is a pathway that can lead back to rebuilding. There's a pathway that can lead back to trusting again, because you are taking responsibility, and that's so very important in the healing process, to be able to take that full accountability.
Right. Yep.
Right. And so then the next thing is what I alluded to when it talked about our son, is being consistent in your actions and your words. You can't say, hey, I'm sorry, and then go back out and continue the affair like that. How are you really sorry? At that point, you're not sorry. You're just basically sorry that you got caught, or you got your lies were exposed, or things like that. So that's important. That is definitely important, because even in one of our other videos, we alluded to when you had started to say, hey, baby girl, I'm running late, or hey, baby girl, I'm doing X, Y, Z, and or hey, baby girl, I'm going to do this, whatever. And so just being consistent in those, in your, not only your words, but having the, as they say, putting your mouth, what is it? Putting your words in action.
Yeah, putting your words in action.
Yeah, so doing that is also another pathway where trust can begin to be rebuilt, because if you say you're going to do something and then you don't do it, and then that's not to say that things don't happen or things don't come up. It's just an acknowledgement of, okay, I realize that there has been a major breach, and I need to do the things that I need to do to help restore that. And if that means, checking in 50 times a day,
right.
And alerting you if there is something that I said I was going to do. Things may have changed. I'm still checking in to let you know, hey, I haven't forgotten. Things may have gotten a little bit crazy, but this is what, this is what's happening now.
Yeah. And to your point of, just being consistent in those words and actions. So as you're going through your counseling sessions, which is one of the ways that you can be consistent in your actions and words. And a one-time session won't fix it. I mean, in my opinion, I don't think a one-time session will fix it. And we had been going to therapy and still going. We have a check-in here coming up pretty soon. So that consistency there in just being there, being available, and then taking what was learned and gleaned from those sections and putting those in consistent actions and words. So through the counseling session, we talk about having, check-ins or making sure that, Yolanda's aware of, and I, had started to do this anyway of, hey, I'm running to the store, I'm going to be late, having that consistency there, hopefully, helps to rebuild the trust as well. And we didn't talk a lot about respecting boundaries and some of the consistency in actions and in words theirs. So one of the boundaries may be around, and for some couples it may be like, well, I don't want to be intimate with you, right now in the throes of just found out about the affair. Then I'm one person may feel like I'm not ready to engage in intimacy with you, and so respecting those boundaries and not using that as an excuse to go out and find that intimacy in other places. So so that true remorse is demonstrated through ongoing actions and not just a one time or twice apology.
Right. And I will admit it as someone who is, we categorize it as the betrayed partner. It is going to take some time to rebuild that trust. It's going to take some time to, rekindle and renew. Nevertheless, it's also important for us to allow that person the opportunity to rebuild that trust again, right? So but there may be time when, or I know in the beginning where you didn't say, oh, something's changed, and I won't be home at 5 o'clock, I'll be home at like 6 o'clock. I have to offer grace and extend grace to look back and say, okay, well, the time before when there was a change, he did come out and say, okay, change of plans. And the time before that, he said, okay, change of plans. Okay, time before that, he said, oh, change of plans. So you have to and really put yourself out there to allow for that trust to be rebuilt. And I know it's hard. I know it's scary. I know it's challenging because you never want to be hurt like that again. Nevertheless, there's something that each person has to do. So you have to do your part in, rebuilding the trust. And then I have to do my part in allowing for you to do that. And we both have to allow one another and extend grace to one another because we're not going to get it right the first time. Correct. Or the second time or the third time.
Correct.
Or maybe the fourth time. But that's where that, being transparent, being open, being honest, having the support of professional therapy or counseling, or even a support group or a coach to help you in that process, to let you know Rome wasn't built overnight.
It was not.
And that's challenging for me because you guys know I am an overcoming perfectionist. I start working out today and I want to see results tomorrow. Doesn't exactly work like that.
Right. So we talked about taking full accountability. We talked about consistency in your actions and words. And the third one is around having empathy for your pain.
But we're going to talk about that next week.
Oh, that means you have to tune in again next week.
Right. We don't want to make this so long and drawn out where you guys are like, okay, Roy, okay, Yolanda, will you please come on with it? So we want to make sure that you guys come back and join us next week.
Oh, because we have more to put on the table.
Put on the table.
I'm Roy.
And first, before we do that, we want to invite them to subscribe, right?
That's right. Subscribe and hit that like button so that you will be notified when there's new content that comes out. And if you have a comment that you want to share, go ahead and drop it in the comments, and we'll be sure to respond to that part as well.
Great. So now,
I'm Roy.
And I'm Yolanda.
And we're your guides in Real Affairs. We show you
affairs done right. See you guys next time.
See you next time.